Do you hear the captain sing, crying out across the stars? It is the anthem of the players, crushed beneath the endless charge.
When the packs are 99 and the servers barely run, then the game becomes a prison and the players say,
we're done.
Will you join the cause today? Raise your banners through the void. Stand together as a people. Make the galaxy annoyed. When the credits fuel the change and the joy is sold away, we will fight for what was promised and we'll take the game we play. Will you buy or will you fight for a fleet that's truly free? Will you pay $100 just to grind the same debris? Same debris. Same debris.
From the Borg to Romulan space, from the stars to Klingon war, every captain swears together we won't pay them anymore.
Do you hear the captain sing of the bugs they will not bear, of the lag that steals the battles, of the devs who do not care?
When the players take a stand and the cash flow starts to fall,
And the overlords will answer to the captain's one and all. This is more than just a game.
it's the fleets we've built with pride.
You can't price away our honor. You can't steal the Trek inside. When the stars are ours to claim.
All right. We'll turn the music on down so we can get into all the topics that we will talk about, which is a lot of things. So, we'll focus on events, I think, mostly today. I'm sure many of you are curious about all the events, right? We got a whole slew of events coming out here for what's kind of Halloween. There's some Trek or Treat stuff going on. Our lower levels get left out a little bit. We'll talk about that here in a second. But first off, welcome in. Hope you are doing well. Happy Sunday to you. And it's always a pleasure to see you. I want to give a shout out to those who I do see in the stream already. I mean, we just hit the go live button. There's already 50 people here, and I'm always blessed and honored that y'all are here. Do me a huge favor, invite your alliance mates out so they can also be informed of all the things happening in Star Trek Fleet Command. Yeah, I'm rocking the merch right now. Bam, STFC. And we're going to talk about all the things, including some things returning that was requested by players to make sure that your voice is getting heard. We'll also recap the feedback that was given to the Overlords. What, 4? 5, no, it was like 5 days ago now. Gosh, when was it? I have to check the date on when I got it, but multiple Overlords got the information about, it was the 22nd, so 4 days ago. We gave them the information about the Alliance Tournament rewards and feedback based on that. And of course, I want to follow up with that with y'all to make sure that we're all still on the same page and the same boat. Now, before we get too much into that, like I said, I want to shout out to the people who are in the chat. Good to see you. First Wave was here first. Shout out to you. Scud Missile, AQ, Ray Hart. Braindig is here. Wow, John, I did not know we had fellow people who spoke a little bit of German here in Louisiana, but sehr good. Good to see you, John. K-Gall, Harachu. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Steven, Scott, M.B. Dinwitt, Dozer, K-Gall, Steven, Lars, Superman Prime. Good to see you. Squall's awesome until built up. You love mine. So 1.2 billion. Congratulations. Austin, Thomas, Mark, Ballybomb, and everybody else coming on into the stream. I hope y'all are having a fantastic weekend so far. Real quick, Alliance tournaments, get your final runs in. If you don't, well, you might miss out. But as you can see, we're back in and scoring. Nothing's loading correctly, but we're back in and scoring. So that's good. Tournament, though, ends after today. Today's the last day of tournament, so just make sure you get your task in if you haven't already. Today is your last day for tournaments, and that means earning for your rewards. Like I said, we're going to get promoted in this alliance up to Expert League, and then the next time it rolls around, we'll be back in Masters League. So finally, I'll be able to get some of the stuff I want to get again. But Get your tasks done if you haven't already. We have covered quite extensively the new task and also the free-to-play tasks that can be had. Obviously, all the main new tasks that have come out, for those who have missed it, are not intended to be free-to-play. They are intended to be spend events. You know, the brand new ones for the planetary charts, things like that. Those are all meant to be spend events, and we've been trying to find you ways to get around that. So if you haven't already, make sure you're checking that out on the spreadsheets we've been trying to keep updated, and of course the Discords and all the different places. And there's a free one right there, that Temporal Disruptors. Gets easier as you get into higher G5, G6, but that definitely is a free-to-playable one. Whereas things like the multi-phasic credits, which surprisingly have not gotten an update since G7's released. I'm very curious about that. Something to keep in mind. Good to see John. Good to see you, LJ, Robert, Curly Hawk, everybody else coming on in to the runs, or the show rather, not the runs. That would be a weird thing to jump into. And yeah, we'll start. Let's start. Let's rotate the screen. Let's start talking events, right? Actually, I'm gonna move this a little bit, recenter it so it goes that way. There we go. And let's start talking about what everybody's got. We're gonna start with our G3 players. So if you're a G3 player, you will have some things, you will have not some things. It depends on what ops level you are at. So this is for ops 20 through 50. If you scroll down and skip, there are some for 45 and above. So we're going to start with the ones that are going to include our G3 players, because they still exist and technically they outnumber the G6 and G7, but you can't convince Scopely of that. All right, so we've got Swarm daily events meta. Swarms. Not a big fan of that, but you know what? Hey, it's something that we can do. For those that don't remember, I do have a low-level account. We have a Franklin SLB, one for levels 20 through 34, 1 through 35 through 50, which is about the Franklin A. A Franklin Firepower event. This is all coming tomorrow on Monday, October 27th. Then we have a Power Trip. So it's going to be a pretty big domination is what it's essentially going to roll out to. That's what the Power Trip is, a big domination event. Tuesday, we've got the All Hands FKR Frenzy. It's just going to be hunting FKR hostiles, which pretty easy for most of you low-level players. That's just going to be doing your dailies. Here we go to Wednesday with an Augment Run, which that's going to be if you've free-to-played your Reliant. That's just going to be leaving your Reliant out there to free-to-play Augment Grind, passively hunting. Curiosities of the Cosmos, which is going to be a specific hostile. They did not list what it is, but that is on Thursday, October 30th. And then Halloween comes, and sadly, no Trek or Treat. Nothing Trek or Treater for the low levels. So Halloween, you're just going to have regular standard events of defeating armadas, FKR and Swarm armadas, and then doing away team assignments. Not difficult task, but where's the Trek or Treats? There's no Trek or Treats here. Saturday, we've got a research-based LB and SMS. That's super exciting. Sunday, back to doing some of our normal stuff like Swarms. There is a little bit of overlap with your typical Swarm Sundays, and then destroying hostiles with an Explorer, which again overlaps with what people would be doing Swarm Sundays. Then finally, Monday, November 3rd, you're going to have a couple of different events with going back to that domination style. Don't forget, new ARC starts on November 4th. If y'all are not familiar with the process of how ARCs work, you go to that month and you count the number of Tuesdays. If there are 4 Tuesdays in a month, then the new ARC will always start on the first Tuesday. At least there's years of historical precedence for this. It'll start on the first Tuesday. If there are 5 Tuesdays in a month, it will start on the second Tuesday. So there are 4 Tuesdays in November. That means we should have a new ARC for you on the 4th of November. So that will be the first Tuesday of the month. All right, real quick, I'm going to go through the events here for 45 and above. Then I'll jump into the comment section. So I promise I'm watching y'all. I'm just making sure we get the information out first. Good to see you, Werewolf. Good to see you. Everybody jumping. Ozu, lots of people. James, good to see you. Lou. Hey, by the way, Lou family, I'm glad you're here. You shot me a message on Discord, and on Discord, there's a message request folder for when somebody's never sent me a message, and it has an accept or decline button. I accidentally hit decline. So I made a post in my Discord. I didn't figure you'd probably see it, but because you're here, Lou, can you resend your message on Discord? Because I accidentally declined it, and then when I did that, it's gone forever. So if you could send that back, I appreciate it. I read it, and I went to hit accept, and then my old man fingers went decline. So apologies for that. If you could shoot that back, I would appreciate it, and I'm sorry for the delay in getting back to you. All right, back to what we have for level 45 and above. And as you're going to see a little bit different variety here. not as much copy pasta, and you're going to see an entire week of Halloween theme events. So check that out. Starting with the Armada Destruction, scored by doing FKR, Board Polygon, Crenum Formation Armadas, which I'm curious, by the way, because we have lower level Armada runs, but none of it's including things like Formation Armadas, but you have that if you're Ops 45 and above. So starting off tomorrow with Armada Destruction. Starting off today, Armada Destruction, and then starting off tomorrow, you have the Trek or Treat beginning. Now it says Trek or Treat pass for Ops 20 and above, but it did not show events in the above for Trek or Treat. So what I'm assuming is going to happen is that your G3 players like me are going to get the Battle Pass, which is just going to be a Flash Pass. It'll be a special Trek or Treat Flash Pass, but you're just going to end up getting standard events, whereas we seem to have specific events here for everybody else. Now, I could be wrong in that, but Trek or Treat Pass starts tomorrow for everybody, but it seems like we have better event values for the mid-level and above players. So score by doing priority 1 away team assignments, and then the shuttle base. So Monday is going to be away teams focused for you 45 and above players. Tuesday, we're going to have Officer Flash Pass Ops 20 and above. And again, I'm kind of confused here. I don't know if we're running both. I guess it's 2 different ones. They did not clarify. Now, keep in mind that I just made a video about October where we had 5 battle passes live at any given time. So the idea that they're going to launch 2 battle passes certainly is not foreign. They didn't specify. I'm assuming 2, but they did not return my calls yesterday or today. So to clarify on this, and to be fair to them, that's not me calling them out, but only like 20% of the employees work on a weekend. And I had just talked to one on Friday about the server 202 and 199 merge, as well as a follow-up on the feedback that I gave. And I will, of course, share that here with y'all in a second. So I can't just say specifically. I'm going to assume there's 2 different ones based on what I'm showing you here. Normally, you would only have 1 in the 1 week interim, but Scopely's been going really battle pass crazy lately, and we all know why. They want that good old-fashioned money, green paper, that cotton stuff. It's good stuff. All right. Moving on, though, a Dauntless event. So if y'all have not upgraded your Dauntless and you've gotten it, there you go. But that's obviously going to be for spenders only. It is an SLB and for a ship that just came out. For you, not Sigma players, for you Veil players, Op 71 and above, you have a special SMS for defeating new FKR hostiles. Enjoy. Wednesday, moving on, we've got Transigen Mining, ALB, and SMS. So I know my alliance over on server 20 is going to be very heavy on that because they're very, very big on scoring #1 overall in that. So go mine your stuff. Definitely going to be focused on the players who have already gotten the Serene Squall. Now, some of you have gotten it already, and you've earned it. Get to using it. Prepare for that on Wednesday. That's for Ops 30 and above. Again, they've mixed some of the events here because they list this as all events Ops 45 and above, but we have a lot of things that lower levels can do, like Transigen Mining. So anyway, another Veil run on Wednesday for grade 7 materials. That's going to be super exciting. Then Friday, because they skipped Thursday for some reason, we've got another SMS scored by spending Recon Locust schematics. You might want to save those up. Mega Cube, though, this is something a lot of players have come to me about, saying, hey, Mega Cube, when's it coming back? Good news for you. On Halloween, we've got Mega Cube back. So you're going to give all the normal Mega Cube events, all starting on the 31st. Then on Saturday, the Halloween Recruit Officer, only for level 45 and above. And as I said, most of the Trek or Treat related things seem to be pushed towards the mid and high level. So Ops 45 and above, there's a Heroic and an SLB. They did not list which officer it's going to be. My hope is that it's going to be Villain Ducat. Again, that's just simply fitting with the Halloween theme, but I do not know for certain. Believe that's going to be Halloween or Villain Ducat. So there are the events, and I will say this, Scopely, I have critiqued a few things while reading this, but I am grateful that you posted this out. And in fact, I do want to give a little bit of credit to the community team over the past couple months. I do believe there are some big communication issues they've missed on. But one thing they have been doing is posting the interim schedule and keeping everybody updated. And the reason that's a good thing is not only to keep people like Ballybomb informed, because Ballybomb is one of our G7 Veil players, and they were looking for ways to spend money. Good news, Ballybomb, lots of money spending here available for you this week. But it's also important for us to get feedback. That way we can say, hey, players have come to Rev Deuce and said, we really need Mega Cube back. We really need Crucible of War back. And because we have this information ahead of time, we can send that to them and try to get that set up. It's why your participation is important. It's why I say, hey, y'all invite your alliance mates here, invite your server here. I mean, the simplest thing you can do is take the link to this video and go post it in your global chat, go post it in your alliance chat, so that everybody can be informed, everybody can know what's going on in the game, and then we can use that as a feedback tool to hopefully get what we all need. And what we all need is a better game, and a better game is a game where players are happy. So Kevin asked, when is Boldly Go coming back in terms of like Makala's Crucible? I would hope the start of a new arc, but we do not have a definite on that. It's here nor there. I mean, we'll wait and see. It has certainly been passed along that is one of the favored events. Remember, that really depends on the particular or the specific arc runner, right? They're the ones who design the run for the entire event. Now, you would probably think, because there are some people who might not know this, you would probably assume that when it comes to event design, events would be designed by a team of players, or I'm sorry, a team of personnel that they just do the events and they all work together to each month we're doing events. Not how it works, at least in Star Trek Fleet Command. You have a primary individual who is over the arc for that month. So a 3-week run, they are by themselves all 3 weeks. Then you have somebody who is, if there's an arc, let's just use villains as an example. If there's villains, part 1, part 2, etc., there is somebody over the entire run of villains. So one kind of manager, if you will. Then you've got person for 3 weeks. Then you've got another person for the next 3 weeks for part 2. And then the people who are doing like the interim events, again, it's individual. So it's not like a team all working together. It's individuals like, here, you've got this, and then you get a break, and then you come back and do it again. So when it comes to things like Wandering Warriors, Makala's Crucible, Crucible of War, the Jellyfish SLB, all that has to be set up by an individual. And if that individual doesn't set it up, you're just kind of up the creek. Now, the kind of good news of that is there will be certain arc runners who know that players keep saying in their feedback, bring this event. So every time that particular person comes around, they include it. That is not the same with every person who runs arcs, though. Some of them will do things a specific way that they like to do it. Others people do it differently. So just if you weren't aware, that is how that method goes. I'm not saying it's a good one. I'm just saying it's the way. All right, so he's got to raise a point, Rev, and maybe you could say to someone, I look like winning the match every this weekend, but have close to 100 million points, but that won't clear the SMS for the same event. Okay, that's going to vary by server, so I don't really know what that is to bring up, but that's going to vary by server. Denwood says it's not the first time they've done a seasonal flash pass on Monday, an officer flash pass on Tuesday. You are absolutely right. It would not be the first time. It's just one of those things that I was not able to get clarity on, so I'm leaving a little bit of room for we'll see. You know, if they do run that, then that means that we'll have 4 battle passes going on at one time after just having 5. Now, you will have 2 of those that overlap with the wave and the territory. But this game has certainly gone very battle pass heavy. And there's a debate to be made that that is a much better format than just simply going $100 pack heavy. In fact, we could argue that's kind of what players have been asking for. And I know a lot of pure free-to-play out there, and a lot of players who are just frustrated who are saying, I'm never going to spend another $1 or I won't spend money. That's fine. But as I said in my video, if they're going to go a heavy monetization or a heavy-handed monetization, I'd much rather it be a battle pass method, because at least then, if nothing else, we get free stuff. I mean, you can either get the free stuff or you can get nothing, and that's kind of the method with the packs, because unless you go buy a pack, you kind of get left out. So here we are. Dojo says maybe they should work on their internal communication when designing arcs as much as launching new primes, see if it improves quality of life for us. Hey, you're preaching to the choir. I'm certainly going to agree with you. So, sure. But will they? Hey, we've been saying they need, I've been telling y'all that their internal communication is worse than their external communication for years now. And that's not just me trying to take shots at them. That's just my experience and what they've said. Like, Scopely, I know you like to listen to the videos. Don't take this the wrong way. A lot of your people aren't happy, just like a lot of your players aren't happy, and they talk a lot. So if you're curious where I'm getting this, it's from y'all. It's just to be clear. And as many attempts as STFC lately has made to lock down, as in telling certain people to not use Discord and not go around talking to players and not go around talking to certain content creators. People still talk. And man, y'all need to get your stuff together. The good news is the game design team has definitely been stepping up over the past few months. We've seen, in terms of player feedback, the content has been much better received than it was several months ago. Live Ops is now in the position where they're the ones that need to get their stuff together. And then the community team, well, we've been kind of saying the same thing for a while, Dozer, but I'm with you. And I'm going to continue giving the feedback, which, speaking of feedback, I want to show y'all the message that I sent to one of them. I actually want to show you the one I sent to Obsidian Hamster, but I also had this conversation with other people in the community team for feedback, and that was about the Alliance Tournament rewards. Now, this is based off talking to hundreds of y'all, not only in the live stream that we had where I wanted to grab feedback, but specifically talking the rewards. I also grabbed this from talking to people on Discord. I reached out to a couple on Facebook that are regulars and just try to get as much of a well-balanced paradigm as I could, discussing with a lot of players. And all of that turned into this specifically for the rewards. Now, some of y'all will read this and not agree with me, and that is completely okay. As always, I encourage multiple feedback paths. Don't forget, you can use the official Discord, you can use official moderators, you can use any content creator who talks to Scopely. It isn't just Rev, but the more we work together, the more likely it is for us to get what we're wanting. So I'm not going to bore y'all with reading out every line of what I said, but the basics of it is a lot of the new rewards, and they did make some adjustments. So for example, you can actually see the rewards now in the Alliance Tournament store if you're not in Masters League. That was a pretty easy adjustment. So if you look on the screen real quick, you'll see Dejac, you'll see Strike Team Lon. You'll actually be able to see them now. But I made the argument that a lot of these things don't need to be locked behind Masters League. Now, I did try to find a balance and an argument to be made for compromise. For example, officer badges, I'm like, hey, that should be Adept League. One of the lowest things should be available to all players in almost every alliance in alliance tournaments. Hazard particles, I said expert to Masters League. So it's 2 specific leagues out of the 5. But, you know, in terms of where that should be available, focusing on who needs to have access to it. Remember, hazard particles are a Sigma and Veil thing anyway, so most of you aren't going to be too worried about that. Premium Mirror Dust. I know some of y'all will get mad at me, and I understand. But remember, you can't just argue for everything to be given away. I can't say everything should be in Adept League. I said Masters League, but available for all G4 players. And if you're curious why, I'm putting that because there are some things that also have an operations lock as well as a league lock. So Premium Mirror Dust, I said, hey, keep that in Masters, put that in G4. Vindicator parts, I said G4 available as well as Expert League. Officers, I think should be available in Adept and G3 plus, and then the Chaos Tech to also set Adept. So I mean, to be fair to me, I wasn't exactly, you know, taking their side on everything. I definitely arguing for the majority of these things to be more readily available to the average player. There are 3 things that I said should be in Masters League that they added. That's the Temporal Conduit and the Q's Cannon, and then the Premium Mirror Dust. Everything else I argued needed to be in a lower league. Now, nothing I argued goes all the way down to Apprentice, but I'm hoping that this feedback, and again, I presented this to multiple employees. Hamster did not respond to me, but one of the other employees did. They said it was good stuff. They appreciate it and that they would take it to their meetings. So I do know that this is from y'all. This is from people like Steven and Denwit and James and Kevin and Timothy, you know, our regulars who come to this channel a lot. This is the type of stuff that we were talking about. This has made it into Scopely meetings. So big thank you. And also, if you're curious with this one, this is one thing that came up in a couple of little conversations. It's showing what server each of these alliances is on. The reason I like that is because of the community aspect of this game. And it'd be cool to see, okay, Bad is in server blah, blah, blah. You know, and the reason this got brought up is because on this particular page, I had one of my servers from server 710 also, as well as a server that I play on, had alliances on the same page. It'd be cool to see that and then be able to talk to those players. So you can go now, if you click into the game, you can actually go talk to those people from different places, which I think is pretty neat. Like I can go find the Borgified Pickles and I can go talk to one of their members. And I can see that they're into comradeship and PvP and competitive, which seems like my kind of a group. You know, I'd be like, wow, this is like my kind of a play style. I actually like, wow, they have a lot of Commodores. Why do they have so many Commodores? It's holy heck. 6, 9, 12. They have 14 Commodores and an Admiral? My Atlanta. That's a lot. What are those Commodores in name only, or do they have jobs? What do you do with 15 leaders? That's a lot of Commodores. I'd be worried people are going to be like, booting people for no reason and messing with the damn starbase. Anyway, I'm going to send a friendly message, and I think it'd be cool if you could see what server these players are on. Hey, saw your alliance in the tournament screen. Love the description of PvP focused and camaraderie. See, and this is the cool thing. Like, you get to meet new people. So, yeah, this is, again, a recommendation based off just talking to people. I think it'd be great if the Alliance tournament screen, and see, I can see it there after I've already sent a message, but requesting, and these are people that we did PvP arenas with, by the way, requesting that be seen in the actual Alliance tournament screen. I think that would be a neat and positive addition. So, there we go. We've made it through all the stuff, comments, questions based on events and based on feedback. Feel free to start passing that along now that we made it through all the nitty gritty of everything. Ozu, good to see you. Says, is there a better punch-up crew for the Revenant? Hitting solo armadas or just normal Cisco crew is best? I mean, if you're wanting to specifically punch up, depending on the tier of your Revenant, going with a maximum shot crew, which is Chakotay, Miles O'Brien, and Dejas Torah. Chakotay is captain. That is a pretty good Revenant punch-up crew for the Armadas. Again, depending on which Revenant you're at. I mean, if you've got a Mark III, Mark IV Revenant, you probably don't need the extra shots. But depending on where you're at, that's a good punch-up one because it gives you more beef behind the Revenant. Good to see you, Jay Flyers. Welcome in. Andy says, was hoping that rare hazard particles would be added in Alliance tournaments, but I'll take it. Yeah, and look, if they added in rare hazard particles, I would say that's something that you could argue needs to be an Expert or Masters League. But yeah, right now we just have regular hazard particles. And to be fair, I know, to continue to overuse the phrase, there are plenty of people who need the regular hazard particle. Remember, when you come to a stream, there's what, 220, 230 people who are here already. Welcome in, by the way. Thank y'all. Like the video while you're here. If you come to a stream on a Sunday where you're skipping church and you're being a heathen, you're a diehard player. You're what we like to call a Deuce's Donut. So you are probably better than the average player. As in, you've progressed much further, is what I'm saying. It's not an insult. You're really into Star Trek Fleet Command, which is okay. And that means that you're probably much further along than the average player. The average player who's in G6 is desperate for hazard particles. They don't have enough. They ain't got it. Good to see Ultra Vetico, my friend. Welcome in. They ain't got ultra particles. They need them desperately. They're begging for them. They need everything they can get because most people aren't completing every day of their events. And that's completely okay, by the way. Rev encourages that. It's better to play the game and have fun than to play the game like it's a job. Trust me, I know. So, it's good to see all of you. AQ says, surely Sunday is the easiest day to play. Weekends are the hardest. Or weekdays are the hardest. AQ, and again, I've said this many times, and people get shocked. According to Scopely's own metrics, that's incorrect. According to Scopely's metrics, player activity is highest in the week, not on the weekends. Why? Because most of us have families, jobs, social lives. Most people are active in the weekday, not the weekend. I know a lot of people think that, but Scopely's numbers for years have said the exact opposite. Most players are active on the weekdays. I promise you, they're not running events and trying to force people to do things on Tuesdays out of their own amusement. People apparently out there, you Star Trek Fleet Commanders, you hate your work, you don't like your job, so you play Star Trek Fleet Command. Every time you go to lunch or take a poop break, you're in Star Trek Fleet Command. Apparently during the week is when y'all love the game. Weekends is where y'all go, no longer doing that because I have other things that are more important, mowing the yard or whatever. And here we go. Now, I'm not arguing that we should have like less on weekends. I'm just saying that's what they've said for a long time, is that weekdays are when everybody here gets crazy and starts playing Star Trek Fleet Command. So, no wrong answer. I think that's really what it comes down to. If this was game set more in the demographic of teenagers, I think you'd be right, AQ. Like if most of us were like 18, 19, 20, 22, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I think you'd be right. I think we would play the game more on weekends. But because most of us are, receding hairlines and Most of us have kids. Like I have kids that are 8, 5, and 3. Weekends are actually the most difficult time to play for me. And I stream the game for a living. I stream this and War Thunder as my job, right? And even then it's the most difficult for me. So I think it just kind of depends on where you're at. Nick says they don't have a hairline anymore. I've definitely got a receding one and a thinning one. Now, I've still got it. It's blonde, but Zero's seen it. Ain't much left. It's still there. It's enough to say you got it, but ain't a lot there anymore. So Brandon says that's me. Screw the game on the weekends, listening while working around the house. And see, there you go, Brandon. And again, nothing wrong with that. I am very loud that people should play the game when they want to, when they enjoy it. So yeah, there you go. We're not old. We just leveled up. Completely fair. Thought you got most of your events done during live streams? On weekends, yes. Now on weekdays, I actually do almost every event because it's easier for me. Weekends is when I get most of my events done. Yes, absolutely. Because then I've got, kids that are in the house and, a wife. Yeah. You ever had one of those things? Let me tell you, they're expensive and they're needy. You ever had a wife? Very needy. Love her. Beautiful, wonderful, intelligent, sweet, very kind to everybody but me. But yeah. So weekends can be quite busy. Thank you, Thomas, by the way. Appreciate you jumping in. It says, good afternoon. This message is more for Scopely if they're watching. Please put a search bar in items and materials and the officer section. Thank you, Rev, for all you do. Completely agree with that, Thomas. In fact, that just came up in one of our live streams, I think Friday night, where players were like, hey, when am I going to be able to search my officers? This is getting ridiculous. Now, you do have an improved function in officers for sorting that they've not updated in a while. And I think we're at a point where that needs to get updated. And if you're not familiar with what I'm referring to, I'm talking about this mechanic right here, the officer availability and functionality mechanic. This needs to be updated. There are a lot of things that aren't covered by this. We need them to update it. But if you don't remember, we do have this. It's a little button up here. Now, if you do use this already, don't worry about it. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the people who don't realize this is a thing. There you go. There you go. Good to see you, Sugar Fat Man. Welcome in. MB says, no survey from Rev. Would assume we get Villains Part 3. Well, surveys always come out at the end of the arc, FYI. So technically, we're not there yet. But yeah, I'll also say this. Y'all have shown less enthusiasm for surveys lately as well. And that's not like a condemnation on y'all. I get it. Players get frustrated. And, at our peak, we were getting over 2,000 players doing the survey in a 2-day period. Now we're getting like 1,000 players to do it over the same period. It's kind of dropped in half. And I don't blame y'all for that. I don't think that's everybody quitting. I just think a lot of people have gotten to a level of frustration where they feel like that's not an effective way to use their voice right now. Now, I still think it's effective. I can show it's effective, but at the same time, I get it. And I can also say this. We've shown that we can be effective without surveys. Look at Crucible of War. We got it back without a survey. I think surveys are good. I think surveys are important. They're very important for me to know where y'all are at as a player base. But also, I don't want to just shove them down your throat if y'all are frustrated and make y'all feel like it's more work for you. My job is to make your life and your day easier with Star Trek Fleet Command, not harder. So that's why we switch to doing them at the end of every arc. And yeah, you'd like to have a comment section to give specifics? Every one of my surveys has a comment section. Every single one. That's actually what takes the longest to go through with surveys, is to go through the comments on the surveys. That's we have that. Dozer says, I'd love Alliance tournaments to hide the things we've already unlocked. Correct, Dozer. Yeah, agreed. Dozer, same thing I said last stream. You're not you specifically, but people will repeat things that everybody already says. Y'all don't have to say that. We all agree it's already been said many times. We don't have to make every episode the same thing on repeat. So, oh, and we heard back from Xenox. I don't know how to pronounce their name, but there you go. There you go. Scott asked, the points on AT rewards, what is really needed is what are the design principles for each tier progression. I don't actually understand what you're asking, Scott. So, oh, you mean on the Scopely survey? Yeah, Scopely surveys are, how do I put this kindly and politically? Scopely surveys are designed to get certain types of answers. And what I mean by that is, Scopely wants your feedback, but they want your positive feedback, and they will take whatever you didn't say was positive as the negative, as opposed to simply getting negative feedback. Does that make sense? They would rather you tell them all the things you liked, and then they'll assume the things that you didn't say you liked, that's what you don't like. They really don't like it if you just come up to them and say, hey, I don't like this. They really don't like it. They call you lots of bad names. Yeah, they say that you're a negative Nancy and, you know, that you're a blowhard and all this other stuff. They would much rather get, like Zolarton says, self-reassuring answers. As in, hey, we did this right. We did this right. But baby, we didn't do this that great. That's how they do their surveys. Now, that's completely their right? I'm not telling them how to do their surveys. I'm just telling you why they are the way that they are, right? So take that information for what you will. Not trying to call them out, not trying to say they're good or bad. Just trying to say that their surveys are designed to get certain types of answers. Doesn't mean that they shouldn't be done. I do their surveys when they get sent to me. I'm just saying my surveys when I design them are completely open-ended. They're meant to be responded by however you want to respond. There's a comment section. There's a every individual item rated section. And you can say whether things are good or bad. And sometimes things are good. Sometimes things are bad. And that's just the nature of it. And that's how I like to approach things. It's open. It's honest. Sometimes it's harsh. Sometimes it's really kind. In fact, there's been several months where the people who come to my live streams, which are, like I said, the diehards in this game, are surprised and they go, Rev, there's no way that people like this month. And I said, no, there's absolutely, people do like this month. And people are shocked and they're like, oh my goodness, there's no way. How could? Welcome to having a game that's this big with diverse player sets, right? So that's just how it goes. And that's okay, right? That's completely okay. So with that in mind, do the Scopely surveys. Certainly not saying avoid them. Just know that those surveys may or may not lead into a direction that you might not agree with. And that's just, again, their design. That's just what they're there for. So that's crazy. My point was on the actual addition of the rewards. Scopely seems to never use a set of principles when they add stuff. Like your point, why is a common CT in such a high bracket? That's completely fair. And that comes into what we call SOPs or standard operating procedures. And it almost feels like they don't have one sometimes. Yeah, it's a little weird, a little crazy, but I'm there with you. Like, I understand what you're saying and I agree, but they will not release their SOPs. We've actually asked them to do that before. Like, what's the logic behind this? And they won't. But what they will do is set feedback, or they'll take feedback and then make changes based on that. So what I said in the last stream that we were here, we'll kind of go through like educational systems here in STFC. They will always set the bar very high. That's just how they do design. They're going to set the bar very high, and then they'll adjust the bar based on feedback, right? So what they're going to do, like with the Lions tournaments, they're going to just everything Masters League. And then it takes us coming through and be like, no, why would you do that? Blah, blah, blah. And then next time around, you might notice the tournaments, oh, wow, look, everybody, they listened to feedback and they lowered it. That's just how they work. Now, two sides of that coin. Number one, it actually gives us opportunity to directly influence the game by providing feedback, right? So it's a way that we know that feedback works. The negative of that is some of these things that happen, in my opinion, should have never needed feedback to begin with. For example, like Scott just brought up, there's no scenario, in my opinion, where you need to be told the common CT, the common Chaos Tech, shouldn't be a Masters League reward. There's no scenario where Scopely needs to have that information given to them, in my opinion. But that is the negative aspect of how they do their structure. The positive is that structure is, by nature, going to allow players to influence the game via feedback, which is good. The negative is, well, what I just said. Like, there's just some things that should never have to be discussed, So here we are. Good to see you, Airwalker. Welcome in. Siskadella says, ever mentioned to Scopely that we want to see true percentages in game? Oh yeah, that's been mentioned for years. Absolutely for years. Yeah, and I gave them a visual example, not knowing that game design didn't need one. I gave them a visual example using the game War Thunder. For those that don't know, I am partnered with Gaijin. This is a company that runs War Thunder, which is a much larger game than Star Chef Fleet Command. But we play that over on Twitch. I don't make YouTube content for it, but we do play it on Twitch. It's a very fun game. If you're into military sim, come check it out. But in that game, if you activate their version of exocomps, let's say you activate a 500% one in War Thunder, you get your 500%. And then if you activate another one, let's say you activate a 100% one, it then adjusts and says, if you activate this, you're actually only going to get a true bonus of blank percent. It takes those two and says how that will work based on efficiency. If you remember, we posted in my Discord a long time ago in a galaxy far away how efficiency actually works, because a lot of people don't know that or they don't understand that, which is fine. It's not shaming anybody. In fact, I'll put the chart on the screen to show you how efficiency math works. It's easy. We've got a little bar graph and everything that shows you. Real simple. Hold on one second. I'm gonna go grab it. This is how efficiency works in everything, but particularly our efficiency research right here. So let's say you've got a base cost of 100. You activate a 100% exocomp. That cost goes down to 50. However, if you activate another 100%, that cost is gonna go down to like 33, right? Efficiency is annoying. It's good to have, but if not properly explained, you don't know what you're getting. And the reason I bring this up is the same thing happens when you have damage, for example. There are thousands of percent of damage modifiers. So when you see something that says, oh, this is gonna give me a 500% damage boost, that sounds like a lot until you remember, oh yeah, I've actually got 3,000% already. That doesn't mean you don't want 500% more, because you do, but it's a little hard to understand just like face value when you're looking at it, because they don't show you your totals, how much it's actually going to do, which will lead to players thinking it's more valuable than it is, or even lead to people saying, screw it, I don't care because I don't know. I'm 100% with you, Ciscadella, and we have been for a while. All that I can do as a content creator is give you this type of information, teach you how things work and explain it to you. And again, this is not new. This is not even Scopely math. This is just game math. This is how almost every game I've ever played works. Other games are just simply more transparent with how it works and explain in more detail, or at least give you the total numbers and say, hey, you're currently at 3,000%. Now, if you want this information, you can find out your total percentages on Spox.club. It's a fantastic third-party tool developed by players, originally developed by June Bree, currently managed by Lightbull and Glare. Shout out to those two. Those are amazing volunteers. Y'all should give them some love. That can allow you to find that information that you're looking for your account. In-game, though, completely agree, that should be available. Sadly, it is not. But there are a lot of third-party tools that are very, very good, and I encourage people to check them out. Let me go put this Selkie on a node real quick, because, yeah, Rev's got a mine. I know, but you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. Joey says, after they launch the first legendary thing, do you think other legendaries will follow? I do, but I'm dreading it. I'm dreading legendary officers. I'm dreading legendary items, because that's just a higher and higher paywall. I'm very much dreading that, but do I expect it? 100% absolutely. Absolutely expect it. Not looking forward to it, but expecting that. Yes, absolutely. Good to see you, Miss Joanne. Yes, is the damage model, the damage is an efficiency model too, like mat savings? Yeah, I mean, efficiency is not the right way to word a damage setup, but you are taking a multiplier of your, okay, so go back to the basics of how damage works in the game. Everything is based off your gun's min and max damage. So for example, this Rotaran has a minimum damage. This one gun will do a minimum of 269,928 damage and a maximum of 350,987. So the damage modifiers are not the same as efficiency, but what I mean by that is a damage modifier is a multiplication modifier. So if we're talking about how that works out, well, if you add 500%, that 500% will not give you the same amount every time you add it, right? Because you'll have other percentages that are already affecting what you're doing. So what I'm saying is if you added 500%, let's say you had, this was just an easy number. Let's just say it was 10 and you multiplied it by 500%, that would be 50. If you added another 500%, you would then not go and multiply that by 5 again. It's not an additional multiplier. It simply rolls into what already exists. So then you would multiply it by 10 or 1,000% versus multiplying it by 5 and then multiplying by 5 again. Those are two different numbers. Especially as you go down the road, you've got 15 researches that provide it. Some are providing 20%, some providing 800%, whatever. They all mash in together. And then you have other multipliers for damage like criticals. Then you have to calculate ISO. I don't want to turn this into a math episode because most of y'all are going to get annoyed by it. I did what it says damage bonuses are all additive with other bonuses, not multiplicative. Exactly. So without turning this into super math, the idea is the same, even if you apply the math slightly differently. The idea is the same. Whereas they all blend together, they're not all multiplying the damage each time, which would really make really inflated, ridiculous numbers. It's good it doesn't work that way, but that's why I'm saying it's similar. So it's why it'd be nice to see where you're at. That way, if a new prime comes out, this is the point I'm trying to make, or a new skin comes out or whatever that says, hey, it boosts damage by 500%, you would actually know what that does. In fact, this actually comes up quite often where people ask about the projectiles, right? What are these projectiles? How much does that actually do? Should I buy this new projectile? Well, let's hop into the projectile screen and let's take a look at, for example, the Apex Pulsar. This is increasing Apex Shred against non-armada hostiles by 10%. Apex Shred is a pretty new thing, but this is 10%. What does that mean? Well, if you remember, we have other items that give it by 50%, right? We have other officers that give it by a much higher percent. 10% doesn't tell you anything, right? It doesn't. What you should have is the ability to hit this little button and you see, hey, your account has this Apex Shred standard, right? It doesn't do that. It's kind of annoying. Johnny says, is Spock's Club safe to use? I mean, they ask for your account information. It is. I mean, look, Spock's Club's not going to steal your account. If that's the question, they're not going to steal your account. So yes, it's safe to use. See, this one says, by the way, I want to bring up both of these. This says increase the Apex barrier by 500, but that doesn't tell you how much Apex barrier you have. Now it does try to explain every 100 Apex barrier increases the damage you can take by 1%. However, we have so much Apex barrier and Apex Shred now, all that has become a very muddied water. A very, very muddied water now. And you just leave that for people like me and Sugar Fat Man and Jules Verne and all the other math nerds. We'll just simply tell you, if you really do want to do the math, I can show you how to do the math. Shoot me a message. We'll show you the step-by-step of all the math. But if you don't want to do the math and you just want the answer, we'll continue to do the math so you don't have to. And that's actually one of the great things about my Discord. Yeah, I'm plugging the Discord. If you have it and you use Discord, join it. We have amazing volunteers in there who can help your gameplay that are not just me. There are a lot of us in there. So join the Discord. I'll put a link in the chat. Everybody is welcome. We also have all of our games in there if you want to play other things with us. It's all in there. Your syndicate pool for the day is available. I see that, Steven. I see that. Contrary to how many of you are, I am not burdened by OCD, so I can leave that there all day long and it not bother me. It won't bother me at all. Won't bother me in the slightest. Yeah, on-screen Discord pop-up is snazzy. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's powerful. Powerful. Hey, look, you got one for the merch store too. Like, whoop-pow! Look at that. Check out revdeuce.com. Link in the description. Get you a t-shirt. Get you a hat. Support Rev, not Scopely. Well, technically support Scopely a little bit. They got to stay alive. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Movie nights tonight, by the way, for our lieutenant and higher members. But appreciate y'all. And lieutenant is a membership on our website, revdeuce.com. Now, I'm just grabbing a free-to-play 10K task so I can get all of my tasks in. Get it done. All right, I'm gonna scroll down here. We're gonna go down to our NXL1. We're gonna let it load up after 3 hours, and we'll come over here. And we'll do my 16. Remember, this is one of our free-to-play 10K tasks. This is probably the one that, this and the Temporal Disruptor is the ones that you can save up the most. So good to keep those two in mind if you're not already. Very, very much worth it. There you go. A little bit more goodies, and then I'm gonna come over here, and I actually need to go do more of these. Oh, I got that one and that one. But I need to go do more of that when we go hunting those ships. All right. Back to chat, and I actually need to go mine more Transgen as well. Look at the Veil. I will say this about the Veil. I don't know how many people have gotten to go into the Veil. It's very pretty. There's that to be said about it. It's very pretty. All the broken nodes are very annoying. And obviously I can't take you to the Veil on this account. I'd have to log into another one, but the Veil is very pretty. So there's that. Yeah. All right, back into the chat. Appreciate y'all. I feel like I've bored a lot of people to sleep with all the math chat, so I apologize for that. Is the new planetary charts AT task pay only? Yes, James. Everything that's come out for the new task are pay task. And for all those, kind of frustrated by that, I'll remind you that's exactly how the 6-star tasks were when they came out as well. That's just the nature of this game. It's going to focus on making money. I'm not really going to fault them for that. New task or pay only. Joanne says, I've seen all sorts of stats on the ship description I haven't heard of. Nameless ion field asteroid resistance. All right, so a couple of those of what you're referring to are for hazards. So like, if you go into, I can show you on this account because this is the G3 account, not the G3 account. If you go in here, you'll see in your combat tree, those researchers I talked about did the Akira. It is right here. So Ion Storm is actually the name of the hazards in Federation G6 space. So that's that resistance. Ion Storm resistance is just resistance against the hazard in the G6 hazard space. So that's what those are. For most players in the game, you don't have to worry about hazards. Hazards are really only a thing in G6 and G7, mostly G6. You do have some hazards, obviously, that you'll have to experience in Transigen. There's a little bit of hazards in the NSCA systems here in Mirror, but generally speaking, most players don't have to deal with hazards. And be thankful for that, honestly. Be very, very, very thankful for that. Hazards can be annoying. Oh, never mind. Speaking of broken rods, any update? Update on what, Braindig? What do you mean? Update on what? Are all these other battle passes going to get overflows? No. No. You're looking forward to them soon? Well, Joanne, if you're 58, you've still got a lot of time that you can spend at 60 and everything else, so don't worry about them too much. And this also, if you remember, I made a video about this, the importance of picking up the Stasis Globe free to play, because if you have the Stasis Globe, you won't have to worry about early hazards in G6 anyway. And that's right here. Free to play through the aggregation loop every day. Make sure you're doing your Stasis Globe. It is a must have. Make sure you're doing your Stasis Globe pull every single day. Brandon says, when are they going to be fixing the Veil mining nodes? Are they taking it seriously? Is it a priority? It is. Just because something's a priority doesn't mean it's quick for Scopo to fix them. It is a priority, but that's all I can tell you. I can't give you an ETA. They haven't announced one, nor will they, to be honest with you. So, but it is something they're working on that could take them months to fix, weeks. I don't know, but I know it's like the main thing they're working on in terms of fixing at the moment. Come on, freeze, or was it too close? All right, good. I wasn't too close. All right, let's use this as an opportunity. See if anything in here is OPC. Probably not. Still worth looking. Still worth looking. Nothing in there. Let's go look over here real quick. Anything OPC in here? Unlikely. Oh, maybe Selkie. Yeah, there we go. 600,000 yummy yums. Let's go grab the yum yums. Let's go get it. Wish we heard that directly from Scopely. I mean, I agree with you. I agree that Scopely should speak, especially to the G7 players. I mean, those are the people who keep the game afloat. But as I have warned people many times, it isn't that like the community managers who run the VIP Discord don't care, but the VIP Discord is made to placate. So one thing Scopely doesn't like to do is give specific dates for things because and this is their view, this is from their side of the story. Their view is if they give you a date on when they're going to fix something, but then they can't make that date, you'll be more upset than if they don't tell you a date and they just work on fixing it. That's their paradigm. Now, I'm not saying that's right nor wrong. I'm saying that's how they see things. We can argue whether that's the right or wrong way to handle it. Personally, I don't like that. I think it's better to give a date and then be like, I'm sorry, y'all, this is harder than we thought it would be. We need more time on this. I think that would be a better way to handle it. I think you should say, hey, we plan to have the Veil fixed by mid-November's patch, but you get to mid-November still not fixed. You can just explain like, look, y'all, we understand this is a serious issue, but it's really, we're sorry. We don't know why instead of doing this. We're working on it and we need more time. I think that'd be better. They disagree. They think that makes them look incompetent. And they don't want to do that. They would much rather just like, look, usually they at least say we're working on it and go from there. I think it'd be better to say, hey, we're trying to have it fixed by this time frame. Again, that's why I said like mid-month November patch. That gives you a time frame, not a specific date. But that's not how they want to operate. They don't want to do that. I have tried to tell them to do that for years. They don't want to. So all I can tell you is I will take any complaints that y'all have. I'll say, hey, look, there's a real problem with this. And I can tell you that they know about it and that whether they deem it as important or not. There are some things that I've brought to them that they just say, Rev, that's not important. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Cool beans. The Veil mining node problem is important and it is being looked at and worked on. I just simply cannot tell you when that actually gets fixed. I also wish they would at least do the basics of acknowledging certain problems. But again, all I can do is my job, and I can say this: thank you for allowing me to have this job. It's very, very kind of y'all to support me and my family, and I very much appreciate it. Thank y'all. Every bit y'all donate helps pay bills, medical bills, light bills, mortgage payments, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App there in the chat. You don't have to, but it will go a long way. It'd be greatly appreciated. A lot more than I think Scopely appreciates it sometime, because the amount of money they make off STFC, Pokemon Go, Monopoly Go, etc. I don't know. You would just feel like they'd be a more customer-oriented company. But I'll tell you this. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. John says, are your older videos about what to do before upgrading to a new level still helpful? Trying to get a friend to start playing that will need guidance. Yes. Now, there are some things that are a little dated, but generally speaking, yes, they're still helpful and important. There might be some things that need to be added, like new specialty ships that have come out and such. But for the most part, yeah, A-okay to use. Thank you for asking, though. Sean says, what power should I be going in level 40? I'm currently 39 at 18.8 million. I tell people that you probably don't have as much research done as you want to unless you're at least 30 million power, lowest 25 million power at level 39. Now, there are people who will tell you to level up no matter what, and you can just catch up in G4. I am not a fan of that because I think you'll just go through a lot of pain and growing pains. So I try to help people avoid the growing pains. I would say minimum 25 million. Any advice for a new G6 player? You're going to have to ask a specific question. This is not a game where you can just say, hey, here's advice. Woo! This is not that game. Have a specific question, get a specific answer. There's no way I can just say, hey, general advice, new G6 player. This game is way too complex. And we can argue that's a bad thing, but there's no way to give general advice anymore. Back in 2020, I could give general advice. Just run Pipe and Road Chin. Or, just run 7, 8, 9 against 29 swarms. Borg probes. That's no longer a thing, right? I have an entire checklist of what to do when you get into early G6. So it's just not one thing I can say go do. P-Watch says, is fixing the rift/wave defense auto recall bug a priority? Yes. I can't tell you when, but yes. Now, is it as high of a priority as fixing the veil? No. It is not as high of a priority as fixing the veil. It is a priority, though. It's on the list. And when you're comparing that to other things that are low priority, which there are low priority items, things like, I have people who will send me messages about missions that have typos and stuff. Those are things that need to get passed along. Those are low priority items. So I guess you could call that a mid priority item, the wave defense one. Anything to do with G7 right now is priority because that's where people are spending $100,000. So that is the priority. Where Scopely has the majority of their income coming from is going to be their priority. G7, where players are spending thousands of dollars a day right now, is the priority. So anything regarding that is going to be the focus. And then everything else is still important, but maybe isn't getting the same level of attention. Yeah, Grillin', I'm aware. Eagerly anticipating your t-shirt that shipped on Friday. Very nice. Excited for you. Can't wait to see you wearing it. Yeah, you got to take a picture of you in it. So. Answer question about the Lions. Thank you for that. Oh, yeah, of course. Shout out to Xenix again. And see, this is exactly why, sorry, it's above my head. I didn't open it up full screen. This is exactly why I think that you should be able to see what server some of these are on. Because look, you get to meet people. And found out, by the way, he says, or pointing in the wrong direction, that all those Commodores have a role. And that's awesome. That shows incredible loyalty to the group. It shows, to me, I think delegation is important. I know several alliance leaders who run things with an iron fist. Like, it's one person, they have Commodores, but they really run things, which is fine. There's not a wrong way to run it if it's working, but I'm of the delegation group, and it seems like they've got a lot of delegation and a lot of loyalty, which shout out to them. That's great. You know, just going by their profile name and description, I can tell you this. Rev recommends the Borgified Pickles on server 93. I can tell you that just by reading it. Camaraderie, they're competitive and PvP focused. This is the, I don't know much about server 93, but I can tell you this. This is the alliance I would join. Now, maybe they have more alliances like that on 93. This is the one Rev would join. And I'm not just trying to pump them up. I've never met them before, but this is also part of why I love that we have this in the game now, that we can describe our alliances. This is just screaming Rev. I want to make great friendships and feel like I'm in a family environment. I want my PvP to be allowed, OPC hunting, etc. And I like it when we're competitive. Not everybody likes that. A lot of people like a more relaxed environment. Completely okay. But that alliance description is right up my alley. Speaking of alliance descriptions, so Covenant of Exiles, here is, oh, wrong button. How do I see, do I need to go into the, to go all the way over here for our public? Nope, that's not what I want. I want to see our description. I don't remember our description. Anyway, DMFL. See, they're competitive, grind focused, and alliance events. And this isn't an insult to DMFL, but when you tell me you're grind focused, I am checked out. Even if that means I'm doing the same things I'm doing now. Absolutely not. I'm not doing all the grinds in this game. No. Doesn't mean they're bad. It just means no. I don't want to do all the grinds. I'm not grind focused. I am not. It's just not how I play. Epic. Camaraderie. I'm here for that. Open to train lower levels. I actually love that. I love training new players and supportive. While it doesn't fit me to a T, I like those tags. I could join that group. I could see myself there. I've actually been there. I've actually been in most of these alliances. Let's see what Max is. They didn't even do it. See? Wouldn't even join them. Got to keep up with the times, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway, I love the new tags, if you can't tell. And I would like it if they also improve the alliance tournaments to show where those are at. All right, transient pulls. I got to wait an hour before I can do that. Bummer. Bummer, bummer. All right. All right. I don't know if I have a specific G6 question, just if there's anything you could have found starting out that might have been helpful. Well, that's the thing, Robert. I didn't need any help because when I went into G6, I had everything because I followed my G6 checklist. So when I hit G6, there was not a single struggle to be found. Every loop I can do easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now, if you haven't seen the checklist, maybe you don't know what I'm talking about, I will show you. I have a G6 checklist. We do a checklist for all these, like G4, G5, G6. I'm going to go back and upgrade the checklist for G4 in a bit. Here, 1 second. Let me pull up the video. And maybe this is what you're looking for. Like all these things, because even if you've hit, say, level 61 already, maybe you, didn't mean to make it full screen. Maybe you didn't hit all these items, and these are the things that can help you out. So I have a G6 checklist. If you go to this video, the checklist is the pinned comment. First comment right there, pinned. Go ahead and heart it if you're there. Look, Rev's hearting his own stuff. What a narcissist. But that checklist goes over all the main things that I would recommend you have to make sure that your G6 experience, you start off, you're good to go. See, having the Selkie, knowing the hazards are coming, already grinding Sigma speed ups, got your masteries done, right? Can you defeat the level 62 plus augments already? I already could. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You got your relativity up, you're revving it up, ops gallery up. That's going to be a big one, the ops gallery. Hence why it's in the must do, right? And then people don't even follow this super strictly. It's just, it gives you an idea. But this is also kind of my point. Like, see how there's all these different points? That's why I can't just say, oh, this one thing, you're good to go for G6. I guess if I had to pick one thing, max out a G5 Epic, that's probably, if I had to pick one thing that'll just make sure you're good to go no matter the situation. But there's a lot there. So, with that in mind, if you're a G4 player, check out the G4, or if you're going into G4, check out the G4 checklist. If you're going into G5, check out the G5. If you're going into G6, check that out. And hopefully that answers the question. And it's definitely not me trying to be dismissive. This game has just gotten so expansive. It's all over the place. When are you doing a G7 checklist? I'm doing that one-on-one. And I'll be honest, Sinbob, my streams, whether they're Twitch or YouTube, are where I give one-on-one advice for G7 players. I'll give you the honest answer right now, Sinbob. Unless you are somebody willing to either, one, deal with extreme paywalls and just free to play through it like James Bond is, or two, willing to spend money, there is zero reason for you going to G7. Not only is it broken, it is ridiculously expensive and will be for many, many, many more months. I have so many people coming to my DMs. Rev, you need to go gripe at Scopely that there's stuff here. This building upgrade cost me $3,000. I'm like, duh. Duh. It's G7. What do you mean? Of course it's expensive. Duh. Like, I'm not going to have sympathy for you if you go into G7 and are like, Rev, they want me to spend $10,000 to buy rep packs. You should complain to them. No. This is how the game has made money for 7 years. What do you mean complain about it? There are people who have dropped 100 grand doing this. I'm not going to complain about that. I'll complain about the Veil nodes being broken. I'll complain about the Dauntless breaking in surges. I'll definitely be with the bug problems. But am I going to complain about the fact things cost thousands of dollars? No, I'm not. I'm not going to complain about that. You knew that. You're in my streams. You know. So there's my G7 advice. I'll make a G7 checklist in about a year when the average player is getting closer to it. And I'll give G7 advice here. Like if you want a crew to go fight G7 hostiles, I can give you that. I know all the crews. Here, wrong screen. I'm going to pull one of the crews up. I've got them saved so I can pull up the crews for you. Give me just a second. So I'll give you some G7 crews to go run. And obviously there's a lot of crews that you can run. Here, let me give you an example of some good G7 crews, like bridge crews and below decks. 1 second. Now, again, this can vary based on player and content and what you have below decks. But here you go. Here's you some G7 crews. You want to go fight those hostiles? Bridge officer? Yeah, believe it or not, Chang. Believe it or not, Chang is captain, Seska, and Suitor. This is a solid run. And then below decks, Picard, Hugh. I would actually swap out, personally, I'd swap out Dejac for a high tier Wrath of Khan Savick or a maxed out Nurse Chapel. But again, just based on who's got what tier they're at, whatever. Joaquin, Harry Kim, Blana Torres, Neelix. You want to get all three of those bonuses below decks activated. And that depends, because like as Grillin says, Janeway works better for them as captain than Chang. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. There's so many factors in the game now. Researches, FTs, CTs. It's hard to give general stuff. But, bam, I'll gladly help you out with your crews in G7. But I can't make videos for it because I try to only make videos once a day. Right? I don't want to overload people with content from a YouTube channel. Scopely overload y'all as it is. And there's just not a lot of people in G7. And there's not a lot of people going into G7. I will do all that content, Sinbob, one-on-one. You need me on Discord, you need me on a stream, I got you. But I'm not making a G7 checklist video because it doesn't affect the main people who watch my regular YouTube videos. But I will definitely do it one-on-one. I'm absolutely here for you if you want to come check that out. Ming points out that they use Max Naga to reduce their repair cost. Completely fair. Completely fair. So, yeah, I'll definitely get you one-on-one. Definitely get you one-on-one. But G7 checklist video is not going to come out until 2026. Because that's just when most people will be hitting that. And with this video being, you know, for les masses, or with the stream being for les masses, but anyway, there you go. I'll gladly help you out, though. All you got to do is shoot me a message or just ask during stream, and we got you. Jay says, I'm actually finding the free-to-play path after level 64 really enjoyable. Yeah, and it should be. G6 has been out 2 years. When a G range has been out 2 years, it is very free-to-play friendly. G6 is very free-to-play friendly now. G5 is ridiculously free-to-play friendly. G4 is a breeze, and G3 is almost annoying that you have to get through it to get to all the other ones because of how free-to-play it is. G7 will be the same way. G7 will be the exact same way. So you'll get to G6, G7. G7, I would say, and this is how it typically runs. about 6 months in, G7 will get its first major economy update, right? And it'll actually be, it's technically not a lie, but it will be revealed as we've heard your feedback. About 4 to 6 months down the road, G7 will get economy improvements like primordial plasma that you can't really get right now. Yeah, don't worry. That's intentional. People have been complaining, Rev, I do my surges and they get like no primordial plasma. And I'm like, I know. That's the design. And in 4 to 6 months, you'll start getting the early economy updates. About 1 year from the launch of G7, you'll have the true free-to-play accessibility. Like, as in 1 year from now, it'll be the die-hard free-to-plays will be able to progress to level 80 without the paywalls that permanently exist. And 2 years after, it'll be easy to free-to-play up to level 80. That's the rough timetable that has existed for G6, G5, G4 launches. It's all been about the same. About 4 to 6 months in. So look around March, April. You're going to see some big economy adjustments coming in. You're like, wow, they really do listen to our feedback. And I'm just going to be here like, yep, 100%. Yeah, they definitely did. Yep. Where's the G6 freebooters? I hope and believe they'll be here before the end of the year unless they've gotten delayed. So, yep. Dunn says, what about Chang and Gorkon and Burning Officer on Bridge Deck? Personally, I think that would be a waste of your bridge officers, because if you can get that burning, etc., below decks, usually, the basic logic is you have more below deck spots than you have above deck spots, right? Simple logic. You have more below deck than you have above deck. So don't fill your above deck with things that you can do below decks. That's like the very basic logic. Don't throw above decks, which you can do below. Now, if you're on, just as an example, if you're on like a tier 5 Crenshaw, well, obviously you're limited below decks. So in that instance, let's say you're trying to do a Khan's champion. Let's say you're trying to do the Warlord Khan's champion, the level 4 one. Then it makes sense for up top for you to have Khan and Gorkon up top, right? Also because that's a gold hostile boss, but you know what I mean. So that would make sense. It just depends on where you're at. But if you have the below deck options, you typically want to put those things below decks versus above decks. Remember, they work the exact same way. If you got Hull Breach from Lorca, they work the same way in terms of Hull Breach being active. When they activate can be different. But if you got Hull Breach from Specialist 7 or Lorca or Gorkon or Bilana Torres, you've got Hull Breach, right? It doesn't matter who launched it. It matters it's there. So typically, if you can do it below decks, you want to do it below decks. The only drawback is the amount of spaces available. So, yeah. Robert says the G6 freebooters that were promised at the beginning of the year, that was not promised at the beginning of the year that I remember. They did not promise that would come out in the beginning of this year that I recall. So, I know the game design team that was supposed to be working on them, I'm assuming that is still going through. I do not know for sure, but I believe we'll see that before the end of the year. But again, things could have changed. We'll see. We'll wait and see. Again, I don't claim to know everything, but the last I had discussed with them, that was something they were looking at putting out in Q4, which if you think of it this way, it would make sense that freebooters came out now that G7 is out, because again, they're just trying to get people to move through G6 as quickly as possible because they want you to move to G7 so they can try to pummel you with the need to spin, right? And I have great friends who spin. I have friends like Jules Verne. They're not a heavy spender, but they spend every month, right? And because they do that, they are able to, go up there and not really have to worry about it as much. Hey, I'm going to spend as long as I make tactical choices in my spending, I'll be fine. And that's completely A-okay. Ooh, look at all of these yummies. Oh, my Lanta. Somebody wants Rev to come and visit, and I will. I will indeed. Yes, indeedio. I'm going for all 4 of those. You think Wrath of Montgomery Scott is any good for below decks? Not on your primary ship. Usually, people have enough primary below deck officers to not need that. So, it just depends. What I would personally do is I would use that more below decks, like on my second or third ship for waves. Saladin Max working on Voyager. Very nice, Blogden. Very nice. Should I stay, go up to 39 and stay there, or cross over to 40? If all you have is a Saladin, you should definitely not be going into G4, in my opinion. You should definitely pick up at least a 34 Epic and get all the other specialty ships. Like the Cerritos, the Titan, and you can even slow play those. I talked about that in my should you skip this ship video, but how long did it take you to get to Op 63? From Op 60 to 63 was less than a day. I just went bang, 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 because I prepared. So it didn't take me long at all. I went from 60 to 63 in a few hours. And that was mostly the annoyance of having to click everything. Didn't take me long at all. You have a tier 10 Crenshaw, short of one gun short of tier 11, so they use Janeway Suitor Seska and Quantum Slipstream and an Narn Post. Very nice, Grilla. Yeah, it's a good setup. Good setup. I'm curious with you being one part away. I'm going to assume the answer is no. But I'm curious, you being one part away from tier 12, can you beat the level 5 with boosting Khan's champion? I'm assuming no at tier 10, but with a couple of months of having passed, sometimes people can do it as more things become available. I'm going to assume the answer is no, though. But I'm very curious, have you tried, and can you do it? Have you yet to try? I would assume the answer is no. And like, if you don't feel confident, don't go wasting your start on me. But I am curious to know if you gave it a try with how power has creeped a little bit in the past few months since it rolled out, if you're able to. Tier 12 is the lowest I've seen happen so far. That's the lowest I've seen happen so far. But again, it's been time. You know, I haven't really invested that high, or haven't tried. I've not logged into a G6 account and tried a G5 Cons champion in 3 months, 2 months. I don't know. Yeah, something like that, like back in July-ish. So, Pseudo says they've killed a level 5 champion at tier 10, just needed all the boosts. See, there you go. Steve says, how good is Janeway Seska Suitor? I mean, it's mostly a G7 run. I mean, it's good. It's either that or running with Chang. Again, and success will vary based on way too many annoying factors. But yeah, it's a good crew for higher levels. Like, I'm not going to use that crew in G5. There's better crews in G5. But at high levels, that could be a good one. Let's see. Other comments. I don't want to make sure I'm missing anything. Would G6 freebooters come out? You think there'll be more Q trials? I would hope so. And that would allow people to actually max out their quantum slipstream and their time crystal and things like that. We'll have to wait and see. Fatman says the only time you should have burning above decks is when Neelix doesn't work below decks. I agree with that statement, Sugar Fatman. I agree with that statement. Let's see if we can find more OPC in here. UOPC? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the good stuff. Oh, yeah. Daddy likey. Daddy likey. All right. Nobody else. So we'll just get that one. And we'll go home with a cargo full of yum-yums. Look at that. Who needs to mine when everybody will mine for you? Oh, I love this game. I love this game, chat. All right, get y'all's comments in. We are getting close to our wrap-up time for the day. Get your comments in. Don't forget, if you are part of our membership on RevDeuce.com, movie night is tonight. So if you are not part of that already, go check it out. It's the best way you can support me and my family and actually meet me and my family because we send video thank yous to everybody on that. We'll be doing some of those this weekend. I'm going to really get on my wife and daughter to do some tonight with me too. So if you're part of movie night, jump in. If you're not, if you want to be part of movie night, sign up to be a member on our website, RevDeuce.com, and then we're going to do some stuff. Do some stuff. Grill says Star Trek 5? No, definitely not. Definitely not. I'd rather watch Strange New World Season 3 than that, which not saying much because I'd rather watch a lot of things more than that, but yeah. Congratulations on Mess Hall 97, Scott. I got to quit being lazy. My mess hall is only at 79. I've been really lazy about upgrading my officers. I got to stop being lazy. I need to do that. I need to do that. Scott, thank you for pushing me to be better. I have a bad problem with, I don't want to. Well, sometimes I need to do it even if I don't want to. Some of y'all out there know what it's like. I need to get to it, though. Those bonuses still have value. Ooh, the Borg Solo. Do I have that pull handy? Let's go take a look. I do. Look at that free-to-play 10K task showing up. Let's go. Start. Confirm. Let's get it. We can shame you into it. It helps. Y'all do shame me into things, and honestly, I appreciate it. I really do. I do appreciate people shaming me into things. So thank you. Been unlocking tanks this weekend with 50% off special running. Very nice, Archer. Very nice, my friend. I'm glad you're enjoying War Thunder, man. It's a fun game, and it's great for us in the community to have multiple things, because when STFC gets too frustrating, that's when we have War Thunder, so we can have a fallback to have fun. Your mess hall's 84, and see that, Sugar Fat Man, makes me want to just like spend the evening. I'll tell you what it is, Sugar. You know why I haven't done it? It's not even that I can't afford it or anything. It's the annoyance of having to sit there and click and click and click to upgrade every officer. Just clickety, 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 clack. It gets so tiring to just sit here and hit this button over and over and over. That's why I haven't done it. Anything in this game that requires me to just sit here and spam click, I hate doing. And I've got so many things that I can do. Like, I'm not hurting for resources and stuff. I've got it. I can do all these. Yeah, cool. No problem. It's getting to this part and just sitting here going clickety, clickety, click. Clickety, clickety, click. Am I the only one? Am I the only one who hates this? Like, look, I'm just sitting here clicking. I don't have to look at the screen. I'm just going to sit here and click. Click, click, click. And it's going to take forever because, yay, StarChef Fleet Command and Scopely lag. Just click, 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 click. This is why I haven't done it. This is why. There needs to be a slider, a bulk upgrade, something. Needs to be a slider, a bulk upgrade, something. Like, oh, Malanta. Oh, it gets so tiring. That's why my mess hall is not upgraded. Not because I can't do it. As y'all can see, I've got way too many officers that are ready for upgrades. It's just getting so sick of the clickety, clickety, clack. Just clickety, click, 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 click. I just took him to tier 5, and now I got to click 20 times. Actually, more than that, because I don't have any platinum. So now I've got to spam click, and then now I got to double my clicks. Anyway, we get rev off of this, and we're going to wait for Mega Cube, and then I'll be annoyed by clicking during Mega Cube. Sounds like a plan. But at the same time, like, I want to point out, the researches in here are good. Like the tritanium research or the efficiency. Like, I really, really want that. Like, I really, really want it. But man, I hate the clicks. But like, I really do want that. It's super good. And I could easily have my mess hall probably in the 90s right now. Right around 90, I would say. Maybe higher. And that would be 286 with an 808% weapons damage bonus. I need to do it. It's just the dang clicks. It's the daggum clicks. It drives me up a wall. Anyway, there's enough rev ranting. That's enough rev ranting. Let's start clicking on other things. All right, what other question we got before we wrap up for the day? What's a good crew for the Warlock or for Warlocks? I don't know if you saw earlier, but Grillin with Gator just shared his full crew out. Grillin, you want to copy and paste that just to help him out for the Warlocks? A weekly video, Revs Rants. Not going to do that just because people would complain. Believe it or not, people don't want that. Now, y'all want that. The diehards want it. But a good way for me to run people off my channel is just to be negative. The average person doesn't want that. The average person don't want to be reminded how frustrated they are with the game. They want to be told why they like the game and the good things. So no, not a weekly Rev Rant video. That's not going to be a thing. If the game ever gets to that point where it truly is so bad we need a rant video, I might need to start looking at a new game. Right now, I'm fine. But I don't want to make that type of content. I just don't. That's not who I want to be as a content creator. I do not want to be the guy who just moans and complains every day. Because I believe it or not, I enjoy this game. Very, very much. I enjoy it a lot. No, I don't want to be that guy. So if I ever see myself getting to that point, I might just go full in on War Thunder or something else. Scott says, glad I could inflict some rev clicking PTSD. Yes, I'm sure you're very happy. Yes, I'm sure you're ecstatic about that. See, 6,000, that's not even worth it. Not for 2 days. Honestly, I think I actually have the away team. Now that I need Sigma away team speed ups, burning through these actually isn't that big of a deal. So I can speed that up later. What's today's... Is today an away team day? It is, actually. So there we go. Today is actually an away team day. There you have it. So we can definitely spam click. New IA shifts for end of year. From what I was told, yes. Now again, plans could change, but from what I was told, we would be getting another IA edition before the end of the year. So you just do the traits. That's fair. But I actually did the traits last time. So I don't know if I have enough trade XP saved up. I have to go look. Thanks to the augment faction, I definitely get trade XP every day quicker than I was. But I don't know if I actually have that ready or not. We'll have to go take a look later. But I've also got these two now. That was a great unlock. To where I can now run 2 of these. That was a great unlock. And see Sigma speed ups now. Gross. But we'll just go ahead and do it real quick to show you. I got 2 of these priority ones. Now, there we go. Some more Pioneer Crest, survey parts, meh. And we got a common. But there we go. We'll just run the common again. And away she goes. So, really helping speed up my acquisitions. Yeah, I got 12 one-days saved. Make sure if you are not already, just a quick reminder, make sure you are every day going into your away team store and pulling this pull, the standard assignment booster. Make sure you're pulling that. Very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. Yeah, there's a priority 1 away team event coming tomorrow, if I remember right. So, a little bit of a struggle bus.
Intro for the Empire and glory to your house.